I'm here to give you the review of The Dark Knight Rises. Not the review you deserve, but the one that you need. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. But okay, yeah, this is the much anticipated Dark Knight Rises, and I'll just apologize now. I'm doing this before I do the bum review, so if I reuse some of these jokes, I apologize, or if you've already seen them and you see that, whatever. As always, best way to talk about a sequel or remake is to talk about what you thought the films before it. I'll just do the Christopher Nolan ones, which most of you know what I think of them, but I'll just say real fast. The Batman Begins, I really liked. I really enjoyed it. I liked the first half much more than the second half. Second half I think gets a little boring, but first half I love the psychology, I love the philosophy. I didn't think I liked going to his past, but I did, and I love the development, so I like the first one. Second one, love even more. One of my favorite movies, even though, you know, it has problems, obviously. You know, the ending is kind of bullshit and stuff. I really like it. I love Heath Ledger. I love that it really seemed to bring comic book movies to, like, a new level, you know, taking them seriously and being even darker and more adult, but still sort of being a comic book movie. So really, really like the second one. Like I said, I love Dark Knight. And then we have The Dark Knight Rises. I didn't like this one. I thought this actually kind of sucked. And I have no idea if I'm a minority on that, or if that's going to be the popular view. I have no idea. I haven't looked up and seen what other people thought yet, but I got back from the midnight screening, and I was really underwhelmed by it. I was actually kind of shocked. There's two things that I really, really like in it. One is Catwoman. Catwoman's a great. Hathaway's fine. I think there could have been a better actress, possibly, but she does fine. She's having fun. She goes back and forth between being like, you know, the damsel screaming and then, you know, going to serious mode. You know, it's like that was just for show. I mean, it's playing the different parts and the different characters, and she's having fun with it. She's more of a spy in this one. And I love the Michelle Pfeiffer one. Okay, that's a great character, an awesome character, but it's nice to see one more sort of like the comics. So, love Catwoman, lots of fun. When you see her and Batman together, you know, whatever, just walking down the street or kicking ass, it's awesome. I mean, so it's, and the stuff with the mask and the goggles sort of looking like the ears, so you can understand why some people would call her like the cat or the cat burglar and she steals stuff. It was smart. It was actually kind of clever, so love that stuff. Second thing that was awesome, Bane. Bane's pretty cool. I didn't think he would be, but they actually make him really enjoyable in just how much he's really soaking up and hamming it and having fun just being this villain. Everything you try to throw at him, I mean, he's just like, oh, you tried to fight me in dark now. I was born in dark. Hello, I see you. Pow! You know, and he's very intimidating as well, and his voice, whatever, they give him some sort of filter or something so you can hear it better, and even though he should sound like this, he sounds like this, like his voice really projects somehow. But that's whatever, comic book stuff. Aside from that, what really sort of shocked me about this movie is that I couldn't give a crap what was gonna happen. The last, you know, like, half hour or whatever of the climax, the city fighting, everyone's running in, the bat plane is flying, tanks, explosions. I was looking at my watch. I was so bored by this. And I think the reason for that is, one, they don't make the main character, they don't make Batman that interesting in this. They don't have him go through much of a dilemma. The other films did. This one, I mean, maybe he is, but they don't focus on it that much. At least not as much as they probably should. Not enough to get us, you know, sort of like, wow, I feel what he's going through. You know, we're going with him through this journey. So that's a problem. Two biggest problem is the motivation for the villains. This is pretty much the first film again. The exact same plan, except it made even less sense. It makes even less sense in this one than it did in the first one. The first one was, Gotham is a decaying city. It's you know, it's horrible. It's like a, you know, a diseased arm that needs to be lopped off so the rest of civilization can, you know, live. Okay. You know, it's, I guess I'll buy it. You know, it sounds a little goofy, but whatever. We'll go with it, okay? And then in this one, it's like, Gotham is now a peaceful place because all that bullshit at the end of The Dark Knight, you know, with we have to make Batman look like the villain and whatever, and Michael Caine burning the letter and stuff like that, all of that just got rid of crime, you know, the streets are safe. They're gonna get rid of Jim Gordon because this is peacetime. By the way, that goes nowhere. There's no reason for that. So now Gotham's, I guess, a really pretty nice place. People want a vacation there or something. But these bad guys, the exact same ones, the League of Shadows, come in and they still want to stomp it out. Why? Because, well, we got a plan. We still got the blueprints. We gotta just throw them away? I mean, we can't do that. It doesn't add up. And that's the big problem, is that you're following these villains, and you're trying to get into their plan. And when you get to the big battle at the end, everyone's rushing and fighting, you're constantly asking yourself, what the hell are they fighting for? What was this for again? I'm not behind this. Even something like Avengers, you know, is very basic. Asshole wants to take over the world. I mean, we know that. We've seen it a million times, so we can get it. We're still not sure exactly what this is. And there's a bomb that they have that they could just blow up at a moment. In fact, we find out that they are just going to blow it up. They're holding the city hostage unless they don't heed to their demands, because there's no demands they have to heed to. So they, you know, but what's the point? Well, they want to see the soul of Gotham be crushed. Why? To prove a point. The point that if we let a bunch of prisoners out of their cells, the city will be in chaos. I don't think you need to prove that. I think we could figure that out. And if no law enforcement is there to save them, the city will crumble and die. Yeah? Yeah? You know, and... but we're gonna blow it up anyway. What? This is the dumbest plan. It doesn't add up, and we don't exactly know why they're doing it. It's just sort of stubbornness. That's one of the many major problems. I mean, I should probably go a little bit into the story here. You know, it's a few years later after Dark Knight. Bruce Wayne is now like a cripple. Which, did I miss something in the last one? Like, he has a cane and he can, you know, just barely walk. When did that happen? I thought Batman was walking okay at the end of the first film, but he could ride the bike, you know. So, but he decides to, you know, seclude himself and get away from everything because the death of Harvey Dent was too much. You know, the death of his parents as a kid, you know, that was tough. But this guy who was nice, but he turned out to be a jerk. Lock himself away from everything. He's like Howard Hughes. He's got the, you know, the long beard. And he's, I'm done. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense. But he decides to come back because Selina Kyle, you know, takes his fingerprints. You know, she's a cat burglar in this. You know, sort of playing both sides, having a lot of fun with it. And so he wants to find out why. And then he finds out about this Bane character. And Bane is apparently connected to the League of Shadows. I don't think I'm giving anything away. They say that pretty early on. And they just flat out say, what's his plan? He wants to keep doing what Ra's al Ghul started. Now, here's the other major problem. Because that's essentially the story, and that's what, you know, Bane wants to do. He just wants to finish what Ra's al Ghul started. And Catwoman sort of goes back and forth. As she should. That's what's so great about that character. The reason that doesn't work is that then what is the purpose of the second movie? What is the purpose of the Joker? What's even the purpose of Two-Face? You could easily write these two things out and just have what's the purpose of framing Batman for the crime? Write that stuff out. Okay, go from Batman Begins, take out the Joker, all that stuff. I'm Batman, I'm in the city, I'm gonna make it great. Go to this movie. Everything's great because of Batman. Well, the Bane doesn't want that. He wants revenge for Ra's al Ghul. And continue the rest of the story. You don't need the second film. It's totally pointless. The Joker's totally pointless. Two-Face is pretty much pointless. And all those decisions they decide to do at the end, you know, with, I thought were kind of bullshit anyway, with Michael Caine burning the letter and Batman taking the blame and Gordon going along with it and stuff, really bites him in the ass. And everybody's saying, why the hell did you do this? This was stupid. And they're totally right. I mean, it's like, it just shot itself in the foot with its own logic. Because everything they did in that film is ultimately coming back, and everybody's yelling at them saying this was the wrong thing to do. And they're right, it was the wrong thing to do. It was a dumb idea. So you have that going, but trying to bring it back to the villains in the first film, it doesn't add up, because then they're trying to make it look like this was all part of the plan, this was all part of the trilogy, when clearly it wasn't. You know, maybe you were going to do something with Heath Ledger that was going to bring it back into this, I don't know. But as is, you have Batman Begins, which is its own sort of thing. The Dark Knight, which is kind of continuing it, but it's its own little thing. Dark Knight Returns. Just listen to the friggin' title! You're recycling the title! You know, I mean, Batman Begins to Dark Knight Returns. There's not much variation there. Did you learn anything from watching the Rambo movies? Anyway. So, okay, you have Dark Knight Rises. And we're just gonna sort of go back to what the first film was doing. We're gonna bring it back to that. Well, this whole area with the Joker and Two-Face, where you were really raising the bar, remember, and you were trying something different and new and wow. And why are you stepping backwards? Why are you going in this direction? And what really bothers me is that from Batman Begins to Dark Knight, whether or not he did, you got the feeling that Christopher Nolan was sort of taking notes at what didn't work in Batman Begins. Like, the action scenes got so much better in Dark Knight. The villain got much more focus in The Dark Knight. You know, a lot of the problems, even though I like Batman Begins, a lot of the problems with Batman Begins were fixed in Dark Knight, with the exception of a few. And then you get to Dark Knight Rises, and it's like, he didn't... Maybe because everyone did praise it so much, but there were still problems with The Dark Knight. And one of them is that goddamn voice, and I swear to God, he's doing it on purpose now. He's making it sillier. This is the... And I don't blame Bale for this, I really don't, because Christopher Nolan is watching this, and even if he doesn't see it on set, because I understand that, the ear and audio, I understand that, in editing, do something to that voice. Dub it. Give it more bass. Do something. You fixed Bane's voice. That sounded great. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. It's unrealistic, but it sounded great. Why couldn't you do it with Christian Bale? Everyone's made fun of this voice. I mean, it's the funniest goddamn thing in this movie. He's sounding like he swallowed Donald Duck or something. You know, just... I mean, it's like, you can't do it. You can't do it. It's too silly. Okay, I'm sorry, and he talks so much in this. And even half the people know who he is, and he's still doing this dumb-ass voice. Alright, so that was really distracting. In Prometheus, that's weird me going to Prometheus, but have you ever seen the Red Letter Media video that they did for that? Where it's two guys, they're just sitting down, they're just, you know, on a couch. One guy turns, and he just asks every question, you know, about a plot point or a hole that didn't make sense in Prometheus. And it goes on for like 3 minutes because there's so many. That's this one. And let me tell you, and I'm open, it's a comic book movie, I got that. You know, I'm the guy who didn't really question in The Dark Knight when, like, you know, how did the clowns during the big chase scene know where the helicopters were gonna go to set up those cords or know there's gonna be a helicopter and stuff. It's like, I don't question that stuff. Edward Scissorhands, I don't question where he gets the big block of ice. I'm cool with it. You know, but there are so many damn things in this movie where I'm like, what? Huh? What? For example, when they capture Catwoman, they put her in the, you know, the male prison center. What? And I'm sure they give a bullshit reason, but you know everyone's saying the same thing. That's a bullshit reason. They put Bruce Wayne in this prison for a bit. And he has to find out a way out, which, by the way he finds the way out is extremely underwhelming. And it's supposed to be like the big build-up of the movie. The title of the movie comes from this, and it's like one sentence, and it's not that big a development, or at least you don't see him go through a big development. You know, he just tries something, oh, that worked. But, okay, so he gets out of this prison. There's no fucking guards there? There's no guards to make sure this guy, who you friggin' know is Batman, is gonna get out? It's like, well, no one's ever gotten out of here except for that one person that we constantly reference all the time, but with the exception of that one person, who was very small, a child, actually, but we're pretty sure no one else is ever gonna get out, ever. No one will ever figure out the psychological secret or whatever, or they claim it's a psychological secret. He gets out. Apparently this is in, like, India or something like that. Makes his way back to Gotham, like, just on the street, you don't know how. And you got... Nobody can get on this goddamn island now, because they closed off all the bridges, there's army and military. He gets on in like 2 seconds. He flies from India, gets back to this island that has military all over the place and terrorists all over the place, and he gets back fine. I mean, he's just like in the corner, like he sees Selena Kyle. Hey, what's up? I mean, it's... There's a lot of that. There's a lot of these things that distractingly don't add up. And for films that try so hard to show how all this technical stuff happens. Like, okay, for example, the opening, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen, where Bane escapes with the plane. Now that's mostly BS, but we can buy it because it's very cool and it's neat and you're sort of seeing how it's done and you're giving us some idea. But all this other stuff, all these other things that they're doing that you just think logically this would make sense or they would try this or do this, and they don't, or they don't explain it. And it's so weird because of that, but, what else? I mean, those are sort of the major things. Oh, okay, at the end, there's a relatively good twist at the end. I mean, it's one of those nice ones where it was in plain sight the whole time. You just go, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't see that coming, okay. But, again, when you see what it's adding up to, and you sort of see, oh, this is our villain, you know, this is the villain. You just go, really? Batman? Batman, okay, Batman movie. This is your villain. This is what it's all coming down to. You have created some of the world's greatest villains. I mean, unbelievable. These characters write themselves, they're so unbelievable. I mean, people have prayed to write for Batman because they want to write for these villains. They're that good. And you have it boiled down to this person who... clearly you don't give a shit about. I mean, at all. So that's a problem. The ending... I can't believe this is how they're finishing this movie. Again, I won't give it away. But the ending to this movie is not how a Batman film would end. It's more like how Shrek doing a Batman film would end. Like, oh, isn't that kind of cute? Oh, isn't that kind of... oh, isn't that... oh. No, 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 no. This... From, like... from the point where Bruce Wayne gets thrown in this prison on, it doesn't feel like Batman at all. I'm not sure what it feels like. I don't know if it's trying to do an Avengers thing where they're just flying around the city and they're trying to make it huge. Which I feel bad saying because it looks like a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot ever went into this, and a lot of the stuff is really there, and a lot of the big crowds, and a lot of the fighting, and it's very impressive, but you just don't give a shit. You don't give a shit about what happens to the city, or Batman, or what the bad guy's plan is, and you're just constantly, again, you're constantly asking, why should I care about this? Why should I care about the bad guy's plan, about if Batman saves them, or any of this? Because it just seems like it's what we've done in the first film, just stretched out longer and made bigger. You know, at least with the second film, they're going to sort of this anarchy, and you don't want the Joker to win because you want to believe in the best of mankind. But you know where the Joker's coming from, and you can sort of understand it. Even though you don't agree with it, or maybe you do even, you don't want to be on his side. But it's very challenging not to because you are sort of agreeing with some of what he's saying. So that's great. And even the weird plan in the first Batman, in Batman Begins, it kind of makes sense. Like, you don't agree with it, but you're like, well, okay, I guess that analogy can almost work. In here, it just doesn't add up. It just seems like stubborn dicks that somehow got this really big budget and all these henchmen and stuff, and yet they still don't put guards at the prison. So, and yeah, like I said, another big issue with it is that you don't really feel the hero's journey on this. You don't feel what he has to go through to, you know, achieve this greatness, and that chant, that dishy, pasta, whatever it's called, you know, is played throughout the whole thing. It means rise, rise, rise. So they're really building up this thing where the Dark Knight rises. He, you know, comes back again, stuff like that. First of all, he comes back pretty quickly. You know, they're making it like, you know, he's gone for, you know, like halfway through the movie he comes back and everyone's gonna cheer. He comes back pretty fast. I mean, nothing really snap. You know, it's like, oh, I guess I should probably put the Batsuit back on. Yeah, you know, I'll do it. Come on, let's go. So, I mean, even that's sort of underwhelming. Um, what else? What else? There's so many. I mean, this is one of those things where I could just go through the movie and just do, like, bullet points. Like, what I don't like about it and what doesn't work for me. So I guess maybe I'm a little harsh just, saying like, oh, it sucks. I don't think it sucks. I mean, because there's some good stuff in it. But for the direction these movies were going, and to take this direction, and for us not to be invested, for me not to be invested, really kind of surprised me. And to keep doing the Batman voice, too, and all that stuff. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I really need to address. Oh! And this sort of goes along with the ending too. Okay, so you have this this woman who's gonna sort of financer. It's gonna take over Wayne Enterprises and stuff like that. And whatever, she's sort of against Wayne because he becomes a recluse. He's not keeping track of his money. Which again, you sort of go, yeah, what a dick. Yeah, he's throwing money and stuff, but he's not keeping track of it. He's like, oh, leave me alone, leave me alone. But okay, he gets his act together and he tells her about this machine that I guess he sort of invented in his spare time, or there's probably a story to it, but it was just explained so fast. But can also be used as a weapon, of course. That's why he wants to keep it secret. So he sort of shows her this, and they're trying to get the company back together and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden they're fucking. It's the hell happened? There was no chemistry at all. It's like just suddenly they're bonking each other. It comes out of nowhere. It's like he used that robot line for Prometheus. Hey, are you a robot? Oh, do me. It made no sense at all. And then on top of that, we don't really know if him and the Catwoman are supposed to be an item, really. Sort of near the end, you sort of get, well, wait, are they? Maybe they are. I don't know. But again, it's the final film, so this is what they're sticking with. And at the very end, I guess there's kind of a clear answer, but it's not one that you were like, yeah, I see how they got to that point. I think the only other thing I'll talk about before I say who probably like it, who wouldn't, is it really is, sadly, sort of an example of when there's too much story and not enough character. Some of them are good. Catwoman's a good character, Bane's a good character, but like the first half hour of this movie is just exposition. Well, what happened here? Well, this and this and that and that. Well, who's that? Well, that's him and her and blah, blah, blah. Well, where's this going? Well, that's going to here and there and blah, blah, blah. I mean, and a lot of it's really forced. I mean, just like, just shoving this shit in your face and just talk. We're doing this. Well, we're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. That's that person. That's this person. What's this thing? Well, this is that. And it does not flow. You're constantly aware you're hearing exposition. And they're not introducing much character, again, with the exception of Bane and Catwoman. And that sort of follows it through. And like I said, when you get to the hero's quote-unquote journey in the middle, in the prison, you don't feel like he's going through hell. You don't feel like he's really, that he's risen. He is, he's rise, as they keep chanting. By the way, they chant this thing about 1 million times a day, only on like, whatever, day 10, does he ask, what does that mean? Really? You never... People on the internet are like, what does it mean? What does it mean? When they saw the trailer, they saw it for like the first minute, and they're like, what does that mean? You waited 10 days to ask? What does that chanting mean? On like his 5th attempt trying to get up this thing, and... I'm nitpicking. Actually, I don't think it's nitpicking, but I'm going out of order here. So it really is one of those films where, and the Batman films, actually a lot of the Christopher Nolan films have always sort of had that problem. That there's much more story than there is character. There's usually enough character. You usually get like one really, really strong character. The Joker was that really, really strong character, in Dark Knight. Or actually, of all things, Batman was actually for a while a really, really strong character in Batman Begins. So that usually sort of carries it through okay. But in this one, it's just overload. And you're just tired of it, and you don't know why you're supposed to be rooting for this, or what the big journey is, or any of that. So that's pretty much, those are my issues with the movie. And there are some good stuff, there are some good effects, And I do like Catwoman, I do like Bane, but everything else I just couldn't get into at all. So, okay. Who would like this film? My guess is that people, it's gonna sound weird, people who like Prometheus would probably like a film like this. Someone that wants something really basic. Or just wants some basic action. You might be a little bored by it at times because it is extremely long, but you can sort of follow, and you can follow it enough. Again, sort of almost near the third act, there's a lot of, well, how are we going to get the cops out? Well, we're going to do this. Well, how are we going to do this? We're going to do that. More of that exposition stuff that you're just, come on, God. And I think people who, are getting themselves hyped up to see this, and just, they want to see Catwoman, they want to see Bane, they want to see people punching people and explosions and stuff. And that's sort of all they need. They don't need too much else. Because it's not like there's nothing to this movie. They give little drops of, something to kind of cling on to. For me, it's not enough. But if you only need a little, if you just want your basic action movie, it's not bad. You might get a little bored by it at times, but you'll probably like it okay. People who won't like it, anyone that really thinks this is going to be the big Batman, you want to see it move on to the next level, you want to see the character's next development, you want to see all this stuff, you're probably going to be underwhelmed by it. I don't know if you'll hate it, because there is still some good things in it, so I don't think you'll say it sucks or anything, but you'll probably be let down a bit, especially after something like Avengers that did so well at balancing characters. And this one, Batman sort of disappears for a while, Bane sort of disappears for a while, and stuff. And it's just so hard to get into the main character's dilemmas, I guess. So, yeah, hopefully that gives you some idea of it. Personally, if I had to guess, I mean, again, I don't know fan reaction. Fans may love it. People applauded at the end. I really don't know if people are going to be like, Doug, you're a fucking asshole for this, or if people are going to be like, yeah, dude, that's what I thought. So, I really don't know. I don't know how people are going to accept this film. My guess would be that in terms of what's going to be the big moneymaker, Dark Knight Rises might have the bigger opening weekend, possibly, but I think Avengers is the safe bet for the one that would have people coming back. I don't know how many people would come back to this. That's what I find so interesting, because it is so long, and there is just so much talking, explaining, exposition, and there's not something you can really get behind. Avengers, again, is very simple and just stuck to it. It has a lot of complicated things going on, but we get down to it, it's a very basic story, and people like that. And it's good action. So, yeah, that's pretty much my 2 cents about it. I could possibly be a little too harsh on it, maybe, because like I say, it looks like people worked really hard on it, and it's not without any character. There's some good stuff, but yeah, it did not do anything for me, and I'm a Batman fan. I liked Dark Knight, and I liked Batman Begins, but this did not do it for me, and I really don't think it's a satisfactory ending, by any means, really. In fact, it's almost, like I say, it's almost like a joke ending or a dumbbell ending, like, wah, wah. I don't want to give away too much. Yeah, so, just personally, not a fan. If you like it, great. It just didn't do anything for me. So, that's about it, guys, and I'll talk to you later.